Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them
Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your host with the most, Benjamin Dutill, with the Horror Heathen YouTube channel and the South Jersey Horror Podcast. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, I am talking to Steve Braun, who you all know as Jonesy from the movie Wrong Turn to Dead End. And just to express my personal feelings, this franchise has inspired me to drive around West Virginia. Okay, not once. If my GPS is telling me to go through West Virginia, I'm going to put in an alternate route. Just saying. Because I don't want to go to this place. It's just been one of my biggest fears is to be captured and eaten alive. Anyway, that's just my personal take on it. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Steve Braun. How the hell are you doing?
I'm well. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about Wrong Turn 2. It's so fun to do, and I'm glad that it affected you so dramatically.
So, exceptionally well movie. I did like it. It definitely was different from the very first one, from the initial movie. Um, the fact that it has Henry Rollins in it, it was just amazing. I mean, he's one of my favorite actors, and it's just like I said, it's a different take of the whole franchise. It wasn't about people just driving through the woods, blah blah blah, and then, your tire all of a sudden your tire goes flat, and you're captured. End of story. This one is about a survival series, which I think is a unique spin on the franchise. So, um, anyway, if you could please tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how your acting career started.
Um, they don't want to know that, do they really? We could just get to Wrong Turn 2. No, I mean, yeah, I started acting in my 20s. Was on an academic path, but then just diverted because I just fell in love with art and acting and music. Started pursuing it. One thing led to another. Started getting some jobs. That took me from Winnipeg, my hometown, to Toronto, where I went to university, and then to Los Angeles. And was a working actor for 10, 15 years or so, and then walked away somewhere shortly after Wrong Turn 2, actually, not because of Wrong Turn 2, but just for various other reasons. But so like that's one answer. The other is like my dad left and I was filling a hole. Like there's any number of narratives that one could choose for why an actor goes into this business and then finds himself on a set with Henry Rollins screaming at them, like I did on Wrong Turn 2. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
I think that seems to be the norm around here. Is like it was the same as you. I had a great academic thing going on. I got my master's in criminal justice, started pursuing careers in the justice field. Almost got a job with the FBI. Almost, almost got a job until I found out I was past the age range. I was like, you gotta be
Mm.
kidding me. So the age cutoff limit is 35. I'm 45. Like, can you like do a waiver or something? Like, I'm 10 years older. I'm still kind of physically fit. I can do this, right? But no. Anyway, then started pursuing, podcasts, YouTube channels, et cetera, et cetera. And this is actually a lot better choice for me. Um,
Good, I'm glad. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's fun, it's easy to do. I mean, it's free, so I can't confuse. And
You
I'm
enjoy
not
it?
hurting my body, so so
What do you enjoy about it?
I'm sorry.
What do you enjoy about it? About podcasting, YouTube?
Talking to actors like you. I mean, I get actors on my
Yeah.
show who I thought I'd never get. I mean, I just sent a simple request email, and I'm shocked. Like a lot of actors, they're thrilled to come on my show and talk about the roles in specific movies because I don't think they get to do it all the time.
That's right.
So
Like the misnomer is that like there's some sort of veil behind which working actors live, and you can't touch them, and they're above, and they're on some sort of pedestal. When the truth is they're not. Particularly right now, when the industry is in a place of contraction and they're not really working. Someone like emails them and said, "Hey, like, do you want to talk about that movie you did 15 years ago?" Like, oh my God, yes. Like, let's talk about it. So good for you. That's great.
and I think it's more along the line, more so like I get to touch with them on a more personal level, you know, and get behind the scenes, goodies and stuff they can't talk about on set.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that's another thing I like about it. So I mean, I interviewed Simon Banford a couple of days ago from Hellraiser, and he's telling me all the goody, all the juicy good stuff that happened on set that you don't find in like the bloopers or like the extras on DVDs and etc. He's like, "Do you know this happened, blah." I'm like, "No, I did not know." He's like, "Yeah, sure as shit, man. Like this, I almost died on set. Like what?" So
Yeah, yeah, I got
anyway,
a lot.
so yes, I bet you got some good juicy information about Wrong Turn too. So your perspective, your character Jonesy, very unique guy. Which I'm sad that he died because I started to like you in the film until you died. I was like, "Not Jonesy." So yeah,
Yeah.
can you describe your character and your perspective?
Yeah, I appreciate the love. Thank you. I like Jonesy too. Just a dick, like really just insecure, projecting some sort of notion of masculinity that does not feel nor is he grounded in, um, and doesn't know how to express himself beyond that. There's some sort of sensitivity and kindness at the core. Definitely doesn't want to die. One of my favorite lines I've ever spoken in my career as an actor was, "My mother always told me that I would live forever." And then the arrow goes through my head, and I get skewered with Daniela Alonso, and we die. There was some emotional depth to him, but he didn't have the capacity to tap into any of it. So it was just a lot of fun, just to show up me a dick, on set to the other actors all the time. Yeah, it was a really good time.
This is one of those things I need to check off my list, man. Because I mean, I was in the army. I was a dick to people in the army all the time because I had to be. I was a sergeant. I was a leader, so I had to be a dickhead. And then a friend of mine, one of my soldiers, actually wound up being very good friends. And he pulled me to the side. He's like, "Sergeant, how can you be an asshole to me at work, but be a friend to me after hours?" I'm like, "That's a very good point, but you know what? It's my job to mold you to a leader. That's why I'm being an asshole."
Yeah,
So,
fair enough. Being on set as an actor, nothing of the importance of you're describing, but similar in that, yeah, like between the lines, you get to just be a jerk and lean into some of the parts of yourself that you might not otherwise.
there's always one thing I like to know about actors when they receive the scripts of the film. So, I mean, after reading that this movie is predominantly about, six people who have to survive the post-apocalyptic world and given only with their wits to survive and a shot at $100,000. I mean, shit, I would sure as hell go for it if it was actually like a real life thing. But behind camera, what were your thoughts when you got the script after reading it?
Yeah, I mean, again, apropos this idea that actors aren't, like in some ivory tower, like waiting for this amazing project and turning down a bunch of stuff. Like you're a working actor, you say yes mostly, right? Like so the prevailing idea at the time was, and this is one of the reasons why there's not money in the film and TV business for actors, especially like there was back then, was DVD, like straight to DVD as a model, like the sequel or the whatever of Wrong Turn or of Skulls or like whatever these movies, that they would generate a considerable amount of income. And so as an actor, you would make pretty good money on a straight to DVD sequel or like, Skulls 10 or whatever the thing is, right? So there wasn't a lot of like, do I do this? Do I not? It's like, yeah, this is great. This will keep me afloat for a while. This is amazing. Let's do it. And then the second thought is, okay, let me have a point of view about this material and really kind of dig in. Saw the first one, and I recognized that this was a departure from the first one. Uh, I really liked the blood and guts in it, but also knew that the execution, no pun intended, would be the big piece of this. And so it wasn't like I was showing up with some sort of like really strong point of view about this is going to be amazing or this is going to suck either way. It was, yeah, this is on the page, this is interesting, and then let's get to set and see what happens. And that's when I met Joe Lynch, the director, who, like, to me, he's the linchpin for all of this. He made this, a lot of people seem to like this movie over the decades, and he's the reason, I think, for the most part. Just an incredible, spirited, creative guy, loves the genre, knows everything about the genre, and he turned it into like just the most fun that you could have in a bloodbath. It was great fun in large part because of him.
So, have you seen all the Ron Turner movies or just the first couple ones?
I've only seen one and two, actually. Yeah.
Really? I mean, it's. I think in my own personal opinion, I think they went a little too far with it. I mean, First one was good. Second one was fantastic. And I watched the third one. Like now they're going back to what they did in the first one. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over. I mean, they're kicking a dead horse, and it's really annoying the hell out of me. It's like, especially when they keep coming out with all these Amityville movies. I'm like, you should just stop after the second one. I mean, because it's getting ridiculous. They're like Amityville Werewolf, Amityville Moon, Amityville Barbie. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Amityville Alien. I'm like,
Right.
just stop. Please just stop.
But I guess like the inherent in the fact that they're making them is that there's a market somewhere, I guess. But from time to time, people reach out to me to want to talk about Wrong Turn 2 or tell me about their thoughts on Wrong Turn 2, like mostly hardcore horror people. And they tell me about some of the other ones. And yeah, I didn't even like, there's like 6 of them or something now, or I'm not even sure what number they're on, but
Six, and there's the one that came out like 2020, I think. That was just ridiculous. Yeah, that was dumb as
yeah,
shit, and I didn't like it at all. So I watched like the first 40 minutes, like I'm done, and I had to turn it off.
yeah, yeah. Someone's watching.
but but this movie specifically had some wild practical effects. I mean, I love the makeup. I love, the killing scenes is just phenomenal. I mean, a lot better than the first one, in my opinion. Um, and your character must undergo some pretty intense situations. I mean, what was it like filming in some of the wilder scenes?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know that this is some sort of behind the scenes secret or something, but like first of all, we're in British Columbia, sort of in the like outside of Vancouver, in this forested area. So there's bears everywhere. Like I'd be sitting in my cast chair, like looking over, and there's 3 or 4 black bears over there, which so like that kind of set the tone for some of it. And then yeah, like being strung upside down and like 40, 50 feet in the air and shooting a scene upside down. Those things they're interesting for sure. They're interesting. A lot of tripping, a lot of pratfalls, a lot of running, a lot of stunt choreography. I love that stuff. Like that makes it more fun for me to show up to work every day and have to work that out and collaborate with physical actors and people who are trying to choreograph this dance. Some of the practical effects like didn't go so well with some arrows that were supposed to hit trees at certain points just to miss you got a little too close. Some of the rigs like had some big metal things falling from the sky, almost hitting folks. Like, yeah, there was some of those things that happened, and I think they're probably a little more careful now on sets than they were back then. But you get 130 people there, and you got to shoot this thing the next 4 hours, and it's go go go, and there's hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. Then shit happens. But yeah, it was. From what I remember, it was a physical experience, which I prefer. I like that.
That's great. I mean, were you able to do your own stunts, or did they have to bring stuntmen in?
Yeah, I try to as much as possible. I mean, I've trained martial arts for 30 years or so, and so I enjoy when someone starts choreographing the dance of a fight sequence. So long as it doesn't affect the production, like one of the reasons why you use a stunt person or a stand-in is if you get cut across the face, but in the movie you're not meant to be cut across the face, then you've got a bet like for continuity purposes among other reasons, it doesn't work. So, but yeah, I like being a little bruised and feeling like I actually showed up and did something. So I try to do as much as I can. I love a good pratfall. I love a good trip. All that's fun for me.
So, a question I'm begging to ask: what was it like on set? I mean, working with all those other people, and especially Henry Rollins. I mean, what was that like?
So let me back this up. So I alluded to this enough that this needs to turn into a therapy session. But so my dad leaves at age 50. I mean, I'm 15, right? So there's this like absence of a male role model in my life. And my brother, my older brother, was a huge fan of Black Flag and the Rollins band. And he loved Henry Rollins and would go see him, those spoken word tours all the time. So I grew up like having this relationship with this idea of Henry Rollins, this disciplined, badass, like moral in his own way, not engaging in ridiculousness or fuckery or like whatever, like that there was this discipline to him, this rigidity that I respected. And so he was an idol of mine. I have a Black Flag tattoo on my arm, right? So, and then I show up on set, and so like to answer your question, like the script and all that sort of stuff, part of my initial excitement was, holy shit, Rollins is in this. So that was like honestly one of the highlights of my actual career. But there weren't a ton, but like that was one of the highlights to get to work with Henry Rollins. And yeah, he, without even trying, takes up all the air in the room. He's very humble, but you respect the guy, right? And I think, as I recall, I ended up sort of regressing to my 15-year-old self, just trying to impress Henry and in the beginning. And then he was like, yeah, like we're good. Like, he just diffuses that kind of early. But really committed, really professional. And I had to pinch myself after the scene where Rollins is in my face, sort of like you, like doing the sergeant major at boot camp sort of thing, right in my face, like raging at me. I was like, oh my God, I can die. This was awesome. So yeah, it was pretty special for me as a human being and then as a result of that, we went back to Los Angeles after it was over. Henry was going out on tour with the Rollins band. And before he goes out on tour, he does, sort of post rehearsal kind of dress rehearsal shows. And so he invited Joe and the director and me and a couple other people in this like really intimate setting to watch his whole set. And it was like dream come true for me. It was incredible.
I heard it's not the first time I heard him being humble on set or being a humble person. But
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen him in the show Sons of Anarchy, where he plays.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of he plays like the cop and the like. He's got that rage in him, which is really exciting. But like a kind man. You read the book where the punk rock stories where someone comes up and goes, Rollins, I love you, man. Like he's a Black Flag, right? Rollins, I love you, man. Like you're the best. Please spit on my face. Like this is like the 80s, right? And Rollins spits in his face and then waits. And the guy goes, thank you, man, thank you. And Rollins hauls off and like hits him in the face and goes, don't ever let anyone spit in your face ever. And like that's Rollins too, but this version of Rollins, he's got a lot of power, but he's a really sweet, sweet man.
That's I heard. Like I said, I heard nothing but good things about that guy. So the sequel to this movie, I mean, okay, so what drew you to this movie? Why did you audition for it, or did you audition for it?
Yeah, I did. I was coming off a movie called it had been out for a little bit, but Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And I think, from what I heard, the people involved knew my role in that movie, and there were maybe some similarities. Sort of asshole skateboarder kind of guy, and so for a good portion of my acting career, that was my bread and butter. So yeah, like I said, I mean, I appreciate Joe Lynch had done some sort of like associated movie with the Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. Like he did, like but you could see the talent for sure. And then beyond that, as I said, like it's a paycheck, man. Someone says like, we're gonna give you like 30 grand to go do this thing, or and as an actor, like you have to have at least one of those a year in order just to kind of survive. Because most actors are not making the millions of dollars that the few are that we think of when we think of actors. So yeah, you take the job. You take the job and you show up and you suit up and you do what you need to do, and then hope you get another one.
Okay, back up a little bit. You were in Harold and Kumar Goes to White Castle. I don't remember your character in that movie.
That's
I
right. Yeah,
mean,
I was Cole, the extreme sport punk, like the kayaker through the convenience store. Yeah, like similarities
that,
though, right?
that's funny. I mean, I'm sorry. So it's just,
That's right. That's right.
and the funny part is that entire movie was filmed in Canada, nowhere in New Jersey. So
That's right. Yeah, they had to make a White Castle.
that's interesting. So if you could play any other role in this movie or in that movie, who would it be and why?
The Wrong Turn too.
Yes.
Um, yeah, that's an interesting question. I got to think about that one. Um, I think if I could play Dale, that would be very, very exciting.
So that's Henry Rollins' character, right? Dale.
And that's right. Yeah, Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
And there's something about playing Henry Rollins. I would play Henry Rollins playing Dale, if that makes sense. That would be exciting for me.
He was another character that kind of broke my heart that died at the end of the movie too. Because I thought he was actually going to survive, but I was like, no, no, no. But anyway, it's just oh my god. So off topic. If you can act in any other movie from any genre, which movie would it be and why?
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know that I could come up with an answer now for you. Any other genre? Um, I got to be honest. Like somewhere around 2007, 2008, my interests forked off a little bit, and I'm a father to two young daughters, and the idea of going off to do a movie right now, it's like not, it doesn't float my boat all that much. Um, but I'm going to get back to you on that one. Let me think that through a little bit. It says something deeper about where I'm at about acting, the pursuit of an acting career for myself just now. Um, but I'll come back to you on that one.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. If you can act in any movie from the past, from any genre,
Yeah, I think you know movies by Wong Kar Wai are really interesting, like really visually beautiful. I wouldn't necessarily want to be. There's not a movie that comes like, oh, like there's a role I would want to be the lead role in The Godfather or Star Wars or any of that. But to be part of a creative team that's doing something really really interesting, that would be exciting for me. Kubrick's films are. Um, a lot of interesting, particularly visually interesting films that would be fun to be part of, just to watch how it all came together.
I can definitely see you being in The Shining. Just saying. I mean,
Fair enough.
not the old one, but the most recent one. I forgot what the sequel is called, but you could be
Yeah.
in that one. I think you could be a good role. Besides, I'm not a big fan of the main role, the person who played the main role in the movie. I mean, he was good in Star Wars, but not in the Shining sequel. But yeah, I could definitely see you being the lead in that Shining in the sequel to Shining. You you
Okay.
you got that demeanor. I think you make a good one. So
I'll take it. Sure.
and so influences. Let's talk influences. Who are your biggest influences from when it comes to acting?
Yeah. Um, I think Philip Seymour Hoffman is really, someone that I've always looked to. Um, Viola Davis is just incredible. There's something about Viola Davis. There's a stillness to Viola Davis that you get the sense that there's nothing that can happen emotionally or otherwise that she wouldn't be able to like sit there in the pocket and deal with, um, and be present with, which is really exciting. Yeah, I think those two. That's a pretty good combination. I think to look to.
Yeah, I agree. Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was an excellent actor. He was in a lot of movies, and that also breaks my heart knowing he passed away. Um, Definitely deserves a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But did he ever get a star? I don't know if he ever got a star or not.
I'm not
So
sure.
yeah, but he definitely deserves something for in memorandum for his roles in all of his movies.
You got to pay for those stars. You know what I mean? It's just sort of marketing, and then if the studio is doing a movie with you, then you're going to get your star. The studio pays 15 grand or 30 grand or whatever it is to get the star. It's all kind of BS. But I hear you. I get the sentiment of what you're saying. Yes, he should get.
I, I love the candor. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate the candor. Okay, so I know you got to go, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Any upcoming projects you can talk about that I can brag about on social media to help promote?
That's sweet. No, I'm good. Like I walked away from acting a long time ago, actually, and and I don't miss the auditioning part of it or those sorts of things. I engage in a lot of even my work. I work with actors a lot, so I'm in the art of it, but the pursuit of an acting career doesn't interest me all that much. But I own an acting studio. I co-own an acting studio with my partner Risa Brayman Garcia, who's a famous casting director and director. It's called the BGB Studio. That's in Los Angeles. We do training and corporate coaching and communication consulting and all that kind of stuff, as well as working with actors. So that's where I'm at.
Nice. I'll put in the description of the video that way people can look out for it and maybe look up on Google or something. I don't know. It just give them something to do
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah, I get that.
and help just support you, man, because it sucks that you're not acting anymore. But hey, we all have big sacrifices in order for the greater good. So I get it.
Yeah,
So
it's not a sacrifice for me. In fact, let's do this. Like, so you're a veteran, yeah? Like, where would you want people to focus their attention or resources to support veterans? Do you think? Maybe
definitely
that'll be.
definitely suicide awareness. I mean, a holiday coming up is like the biggest time of the year where there's a lot of veterans who commit suicide. I mean, I think the worst thing I ever saw was about 10 years ago, is where a veteran actually committed suicide in front of the VA hospital because he was not getting the care he wanted, that he
Wow.
deserved. So it's
Wow.
now like that. That just sucks. I mean, the VA, it has its ups and downs, but I think it's just more about suicide, really. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's the silent killer as it's labeled. So I mean,
Hmm.
so it's all wounds are not visible. So
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that. So, are there places where people can donate?
yeah, I am actually a member of the Wounded Warrior Project. So it's a great program. I mean, they reach out to veterans. They go out and do like events. They go to baseball games. They go fishing, go crabbing, and muscle diving, whatever. I mean, the coolest thing I ever did with them was go to an escape room, which I think was actually cool as a group because they pay for everything. So
Yeah,
it's just great. It's a good program. So I've been a member for 15 years. So
love that. All right. Well, so this I'm formally asking people watching this to go over to Wounded Warrior and give them $10, $20, whatever you got.
appreciate that. I mean, I'm sure they'll appreciate that too. So I know you got things to do. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And your line in the movie, I'm gonna end it with the famous line you said in the movie. I'll give you something to choke on.
It's just so classy, so classy. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the wonderful, the talented, the awesome Stephen Braun. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Wishing you nothing but success in whatever you're doing in a prosperous future. And I will maybe see you on the big screen again.
Appreciate you so much, Benjamin. Take good care. All right.
Thank you. Take care.